right, in example 2, we're going to do a similar example to what we saw in our first one, only this time we're going to have 3 overlapping sets. Notice that we have a much longer list of information that we have here. So Best Buy has recorded recent sales for 3 types of computer software: games, educational software, and utility programs. The following information regarding software purchases was obtained from a survey of 893 customers. Right? So what we see here is we see, we're going to kind of go through and label this, the number of people that purchased games. So we're going to use G to stand for the number of people that purchased games, and that is 545. The number of people that purchased educational software, we'll use E. That is going to be 497. Our number of people that purchased utility programs. Since we're going to use U for our universal set, I'm going to use T for your utility programs. That is 290. Okay. 297 purchased games and educational software. So this is an intersection. This is going to be G for our games, intersect E for our educational software. 196 purchased educational software and utility programs. So this is going to be E intersect the T that we used for utility. That's 196. 205 purchased games and utility programs. So games intersect utility. And then 157 purchased all 3. So we have games intersect educational software intersect utility. All right. So now we're going to use this information to start with our Venn diagram. As we did with the last example, as we did with examples that we saw in section 2.4, we start with our inside portion, right? So we start with our region that's all the way in the very middle. This is this intersection of all 3. So this is going to be step 1. So in my Venn diagram, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to start by labeling my sets. We have G for games, E for educational software, T for our utility programs, and then we have our universal set. Right? And we are told that 157 purchased all 3. So we're going to put 157 in that center area. Right? Now, once we're done with step 1, we're going to move on to step 2, and we're going to use this information that we have here. Right? And we're going to work on filling in the rest of our intersecting areas, our intersecting regions. Right? So I'm going to just kind of focus on my picture and use the numbers from up above. Right? So we were told that 297 purchased games and educational software. So that 297 is in this overlapping area here. But we have already used 157, right? So we always have to remember to subtract. So we're going to take 297 minus 157. That leaves us with 140. Right? So that's going to be our intersection here. We are told up above that 196 purchased educational software and utility programs. So educational software in our utility, again, which is the T, we had 196. Again, that also includes the 157, so we want to subtract. So 196 minus 157 is going to give us 39. Right, then we're told that 205 purchased games and utility programs. So we're looking at this here. Right, so we're going to take 205 minus 157. 205 minus 157 is going to give us 48. Right, so we use subtraction to fill in all of our different regions here. Right, now we're going to use the information from our first few statements. Right, as we continue to work outwards, we're told how many people purchased games, educational software, and utility programs. Right, so now we're going to focus on filling in these outer regions in our Venn diagram. So we are told that 545 purchased games. Now, what we need to do, what we need to subtract is we need to subtract the total of all three of these. So we're going to add 140, 157, and 48. So add all three of these numbers here that are in this circle. That's going to give us 345. So we subtract and we're left with 200. Right, we're told that 497 purchased educational software. Right, so if we're going to take 497, again, we're going to add up the three numbers that are inside. So 140 plus 157 plus 39 is going to give us 336. So 497 minus 336 gives us 161. Right. Then we're going to finish this off. We have 290 that purchased utility. Right. So we're going to add up these three numbers this time. 48 plus 157 plus 39. That's going to give us 244. And then we subtract 290 minus 244, we get 46. Right. Then we're going to finish this off with step 4. Step 4, we're going to subtract our totals. So if we subtract our totals here, we have 893, which we were told in our original problem. And then we're going to add up all of these 7 large numbers that we see in here. So we're going to add up 200 plus 140 plus 161 plus 48 plus 157 plus 39 plus 46. And that gives us 791. Right, so 893 customers minus our 791 we've used. That leaves us with 102. Right, that's out there. All right, so now that we have our Venn diagram filled in, we're going to, again, go back up and we're going to answer these questions. Right, let's try to get this all in the picture at the same time. All right. So how many of these customers purchased none of these types of software? Well, our none is going to be this number that's outside. So that's going to be 102 customers. Right, only games. Well, only games is this 200 that's over here on this left. So there is our only games. At least one type of software. So at least one type of software means they could have purchased one type. So we're going to add our 200 plus our 161 plus our 46. At least one type of software means they also could have purchased two types. So we're going to add in our 140 plus 39 plus 48. And then we're going to add in, right, at least one also includes if they purchased all three. So our 157. And so we're adding up all 7 regions inside, which again is how we came up with this 791 that was at the bottom. So 791 customers purchased at least one type of software. Right? So at least one means 1, 2, or 3. Exactly 2 types of software. Right? These are going to be the portions that are in blue here, right, that are overlapping just between 2 regions. So we're going to take 140 plus 48 plus 39, and if we add up these 3 numbers, then we get 227. So as we're working through these application problems, again, start by taking a look at what you are given, what type of information you're given. Once you know what type of information you're given, again, we work inside to outside when we're filling in our Venn diagram. And then once we have our Venn diagram filled in, we can use those numbers to then answer the original questions that we were given.